Carla from 60 Living, and welcome to your Modified Fasting program. This lesson covers what to expect during your first of 5 preparation days, so we're going to call today day -5. It's time to start thinking about how you're going to approach food during your Modified Fasting program and removing any foods from your kitchen that are going to be a temptation for you. It's also a good time to notify family and friends what you're doing and just remind them this is only going to be 10 days and their support is going to help you increase your commitment to the program. Let's talk about intermittent fasting. You're going to begin intermittent fasting on day 1 of the program, on the actual modified fasting program. Intermittent fasting is not a diet, it's a purposeful delineation between eating and not eating. So there's only 2 states that we can be in our digestive period. We're either fed or not fed. Our digestive system is involuntary, just like blinking or your heart beating. So even after you've consumed food and you've stopped chewing and swallowing, your body is still in a fed state because food is moving through your body. And on the standard American diet, we have so many readily accessible foods at all hours of the day that we can easily stay in a fed state all the time that we're awake, because before your digestive system stops processing the last meal, we start eating again. With continued intermittent fasting practice, your body can stay in a fasted state for greater periods of time as it was designed to do, which will optimize your health. For more information on the benefits of intermittent fasting, see the blog post on the 60 website by scrolling to the bottom of the homepage and selecting Articles. During the fasting periods, you will not consume any food of any kind, no nuts, no seeds, no handfuls of this, no licks or tastes of anything. What you're going to consume is water. You can have black tea, green tea, or black coffee, but no added sweeteners or flavorings or milk or anything else. In your water, you can add up to 1 tablespoon of lemon juice or 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar per glass if you'd like, to improve the taste. If you don't need the caffeine, we recommend you stay away from the caffeinated beverages, even if they're plain, because anything that you put into your body besides water, your body still has to digest and take care of in a way that it doesn't have to do with water. So you get the maximum benefit if you stick with just water and a little bit of lemon and apple cider vinegar. So when you get into the program, you're going to need to make a decision before day 1 of the number of hours you're going to remain fasted. So there's 3 options that we're going to recommend. The first one is a 16-hour fast with an 8-hour feeding window. And on all of your eating days, you'll fast for 16 hours and you'll feed for an 8-hour window. The second option is the 18-6. So you would fast for 18 hours straight, and then your feeding window would be 6 hours. And the most difficult and advanced option is a 20-hour fast with a 4-hour eating period. For example, if you select the 16 and 8-hour window, you might stop eating at 6 p.m., go 16 hours, and then break your fast at 10 a.m. the next day. And then you can feed until 6 p.m. again, stop eating until 10 the following day. During that feeding hour of 10 to 6, you can eat as many times as you want during that period, but you must only eat the food on the protocol and in the order that it's presented. And you'll see that in the handbook for your program. Now, if you select the 18-6 window, you might consider starting to feed at noon and stopping by 6 p.m. And then the next day you wouldn't eat again until noon, and so on. If you select the 20 and 4 window, you might start eating at 1 or 2 o'clock and then feed until 5 or 6 p.m. and then continue on that process. The day prior to your start of the program, begin fasting at the time that you've selected. So, for instance, if you select the 16 and 8-hour window, stop feeding at 6 p.m. if that's your chosen time frame that works for your schedule, so that you're able to start on day 1 with a full 16-hour fast. As you're choosing the time frame, the time of day that you're going to do your feeding, think about trying to stop eating at least 3 hours before you go to bed. One of the benefits of intermittent fasting is that you're asleep for a good bit of the fasting window. So for instance, if you stop eating at 6 p.m. on any of the feeding windows, you might have 3 or 4 hours of your fasting window taken care of before you ever go to bed. And then your body gets to start resting immediately when you fall asleep because it's completely done with the digestion process. And then you might spend 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours sleeping, and all of that time is in the rearview mirror, and you just have a few hours left before you start feeding again. If you're a very early riser, you might want to start your feeding window a little bit earlier than midday, but give this a trial run and see how it feels to stop eating so many hours before going to bed. We recommend that starting today, you do a minimum of a 12-hour fast and 12-hour feeding window just to start getting your body ready for what it's going to be like on day one. And if you want to, you can continue to increase your fasting time beyond 12 hours over the next 5 days, leading up to your 16, 18, or 20-hour fasting selection. Before your program begins, you'll have received all of the information for your program, including shopping lists and recipes. Now on the shopping list, just be aware that there are 3 of them. There's one for each window because you eat a different amount of food depending on how many hours your feeding window will last. So you only need to print out and take the one that applies to you to the grocery store. Also, you're going to be making these recipes twice. So that grocery list is only applicable for the first 5 days, and then you'll need to rebuy and remake the recipes for the second 5 days. The shopping list will get you through the first 5 days. Now that's equivalent to 4 feeding days and 1 fasting day. So for instance, you only need 4 salads and 4 liters of broth because there's only 4 eating days out of those first 5. It'll be the same thing for the second half of the program. Every day, you're going to break your fast with broth. When you cook it, make sure that you add at least 4 liters of water to the cooking liquid so that when you strain all the vegetables out, you have at least 4 liters of broth to get you through those first 4 feeding days. If you're not currently salt-free, you might consider adding some lemon juice to your broth to increase the flavor. You can also add any spices or seasonings to any of the food on the program, depending on what your tastes are. But make sure you look at the labels on any blends because salt, sugar, and oil are often in the ingredients. At the beginning and ending of each feeding day, you'll consume flax and chia. These seeds are a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids to support heart and brain health. They prepare the body to digest by increasing the hydrochloric acid, saliva, gastric juices, bile, and pepsin in the body. The gummy, gluey texture slows digestion to prevent blood sugar spikes and adds bulk to soften and move the stool. They also expand and stay squishy, which fills the cracks and crevices of the digestive tract, helping to clean out any stuck materials. Finishing your feeding window with the seeds maintains that slow and steady digestion while continuing to move bowels even during your fasting period. Make sure you grind your seeds in a spice grinder and store them in the refrigerator or freezer. They have a fibrous exterior that blocks the digestive system from being able to break them down, and in their whole form, the body cannot access the omega-3s or any of the other nutrients, and they pass right through the body without absorbing any of it. You can whisk your ground seeds into your broth, or you can sprinkle it on the bitter greens. Today you'll start preparing the body to take in these seeds regularly by incorporating a half a tablespoon of either ground flaxseed or ground chia seed each day. If it feels too acidic or if there is a burning sensation, begin with even less and slowly increase over the next 5 days. Next, you'll enjoy a delicious salad. You can select from a variety of bitter greens such as arugula, kale, collard greens, dandelion greens, mustard greens, frisee, radicchio, or endive. If you're new to bitter greens, I suggest collard greens or kale for the most mild flavor. I cut these really finely. It's just easier to chew and digest. Now feel free to mix and match The bigger the variety of plants in your diet, the healthier your gut microbiome will be, and you'll learn more about that in Cia's program. On the salad, you're also going to include some apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, and don't skip this part. It's great for flavor, but it also prepares your digestive system to receive food. Lemon juice is high in vitamin C, which helps protect cells from free radical damage, cardiovascular disease, and it may reduce blood pressure. Its sour taste helps stimulate the digestive system to allow you to digest more easily and prevent the buildup of toxins. Apple cider vinegar is a fermented apple juice that is antimicrobial and contains enzymes and prebiotic bacteria. It has anti-glycemic effects, which means it helps improve your hormone sensitivity and slows glucose absorption by about 20%. That means lower blood sugar and sustained energy. The acidic acid awakens the stomach and provides additional acid to start breaking down food more efficiently. Plan to soak your grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. Cover them completely in water plus a couple of inches and add 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. After soaking, rinse thoroughly and cook. The reason soaking is necessary is because these foods have a protective barrier called phytic acid that keep our digestive enzymes from being able to access the nutrients inside. There's a wide range of recommendations available just by doing a Google search, but generally speaking, soak times for grains are at least 6 hours to neutralize some of that phytic acid that protects the grain from our digestive enzymes. For beans, plan on between 4 and 12 hours, depending on the size of the bean, the maturity at harvest, their moisture level, how fresh they are, and how digestible the carbohydrates are that it contains. For nuts, soak times are in the neighborhood of between 2 and 24 hours, depending on the fat content of the nut. Check out these sites for recommendations in chart form or do your own Google search. Let's cover taking your vital signs. In your handbook, you'll notice a list of vitals tracking devices that are recommended. It is mandatory that if you're going to go beyond 36 hours during your prolonged fast, that you at least have a blood glucose monitor kit. If you're not going to go beyond 36 hours, it's still recommended but no longer mandatory. When you're selecting a blood glucose monitor kit, be aware of the cost of how much the replacement glucose monitor strips are going to be. The optional tracking metrics include blood pressure, urine strips, you can check your weight, your body composition, you can take body measurements. You also might want to try lung volume, blood oxygen, pulse, and temperature. If you've never taken these vitals or measurements, just do a quick internet search for an instructional video. Make sure you know how to use the equipment prior to day 1. As a reminder, today you'll begin your 12-hour fasting and 12-hour feeding window for practice, and you'll increase each day over the next 5 days to work up to your window if you choose. You'll begin eating 100% vegan and remain that way for the next 15 days. No animal products at all, no fish, chicken, beef, pork, eggs, butter, no dairy of any kind. On behalf of 60 Living, welcome to your modified fasting program. We'll see you in day -4.